It's also a privilege to have the author of this monumental work, Sri Sudhakar Narayanan. I request Sri Ramkumar Ganesan to honor them. Now let us hear from the person whose dedication has gifted this book. Sri Sudhakar Narayanan is a versatile author, translator and seasoned pharmaceutical trainer with 6 published books. He seamlessly blends fiction and non-fiction, offering insights into pharmaceutical marketing, spiritual interpretation and poison microfiction. Beyond writing, he has empowered over 5,000 sales professionals during his 4 decades of career. I invite Sri Sudhakar Narayanan, the author of the book, to speak.
Respected Chief Guest Shivaji Maharaj, respected Commissioner Mylapore sir, respected Dr. S. Shivaji Rao, respected Sri Ramkumar sir, and respected Gurugan and Shivakumar sir. At the outset, I thank Center for South Indian Studies for giving me this opportunity to write this book, Shivaji Maharaj's enduring legacy in South India. In fact, my dear friends, this is my second book with them. The first book was Indomitables. It was about 125 unknown freedom fighters from Tamil Nadu. Both the books are based on history. History is not just a record of what happened in the past. It is also a reflection of how we remember, how we interpret, and how we tell it again. For example, if we take the Ramayana, there are different versions of Ramayana. Each version was written at different time period based on the culture, beliefs that existed at that point of time. Each version had its own charm, but every version maintained the core essence of the subject. Similarly, my dear friends, it is the case of Chhatrapati Shivaji. His legacy is very vast, and his life and times have been variously interpreted by historians as well as intellectuals across generations. For some, Chhatrapati Shivaji is a fighter who has won so many battles. For some, he is a master strategist and a visionary leader. And for some, he is a symbol of cultural resurgence. Every version adds a stroke to a larger canvas. Perspectives may vary, interpretations may clash. Well, but that's a part of the game. But what matters most is that we keep on asking, we keep on understanding, we keep on learning. So, my dear friends, Chhatrapati Shivaji, as told, was born in to Jijabai and Shivaji Maharaj on February 19, 1630 at Shivneri Fort in Pune district. Even before Shivaji was born, my dear friends, his father Shivaji left Pune to become one of the generals in Sultanate of Bijapur, Adil Shahi. There, in 1638, Shivaji defeated Kempakota III and captured Bangalore. As a result of his victory, Adil Shahi donated Bangalore city to Shivaji Maharaj. Shivaji Maharaj lived there happily with his second wife, Tukabai, and a son was born to them, Venkoji. At the same time, my dear friends, Shivaji Maharaj was brought up by his mother Jijabai, who inculcated all the Hindu values and cultures and told him the stories of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. This spiritual ecosystem had an everlasting impact in the mind of Chhatrapati Shivaji. There is a saying, popular saying, behind every successful man there is a woman. But in the case of Chhatrapati Shivaji, that woman was none other than his own mother. My dear friends, there are many mothers actually who had made their sons and daughters national icons and celebrities. For example, if you take the case of Vishwanathan Anand, Pragyananda, K.L. Rahul, P. Sindhu, all these whom I told, what they are now, it is because of their mothers. These mothers, my dear friends, whether it is consciously or unconsciously, knowingly or unknowingly, they are inspired by Jijabai. So like this, there are so many unsung mothers also who have made their sons and daughters celebrities. So, according to a reliable source, what happened? Jijabai sent a message to her husband Shivaji in Bangalore, please come to Pune and see your son Shivaji. He is now around 12 years old, you have not even seen him once. So it's high time we get him married. He sent a message and Shivaji sent a message back. He asked Jijabai and Shivaji to come to Bangalore along with their trusted lieutenant Dadaji Kundev. When Shivaji came to Bangalore, he was amazed at that extraordinary bustling city of Bangalore. But when there is a book, Marathi book called Shivaji Maharaj, which is the original source of study about Shivaji. In that book it is mentioned that Shivaji trained both his sons, Shivaji as well as Rinpoche, in all military aspects and made Bangalore as the southern headquarters of military training. Coincidentally, even today, my dear friends, Bangalore is the headquarters for Indian Air Force. It is also believed that Shivaji was married to Saibai Limbalkar in the palace of Shaji in Bangalore. After his marriage, my dear friends, Shivaji returned back to Raigad along with his mother and newly married wife. After that, he did not come back to Bangalore. But the short stay in Bangalore had a tremendous impact in Bangalore. And Sadasiv Nagar, even today, there is a 14 feet bronze statue of Shivaji. There is a road in Bangalore called JC Road, and there is a theatre named Shivaji, which was there for a very long time. Later on, it was given way to some commercial establishments. Very, very importantly, my dear friends, the people of Bangalore, the Kannadigas and the Marathi-speaking people are always in cordial relationship. They stay there. They take pride in the legacy of Shivaji, and they have this cultural exchange also takes place. Decades later, in 1674, the coronation of Chhatrapati Shivaji, my dear friends, is one of the defining moments in the history of India. At that time, Shivaji's mind was filled by two stark realities of Indian history. One, the Hindus were constantly oppressed by the tyrannical Mughal rulers. Second, these Hindus abjectly surrendered to these Mughal rulers. Shivaji did not want to become a silent spectator to all these friends. Slowly but steadily, the seeds of liberation were sown in the mind of Chhatrapati Shivaji. It was at this juncture, my dear friends, Shivaji's eyes turned towards the south, and his first target was Jinji Fort, which was ruled by the Sultanate of Bijapur, Adil Shah. The spirit of Shivaji and his initiatives for nation building, my dear friends, is still a template for the Indians in the 21st century. See, most of us know about Chhatrapati Shivaji's heroic deeds in the Madhya Bharat as well as in the central Bharat, in the northern Bharat. But, however, the impact Shivaji had created in south is not well known to the masses. This book gives you a glimpse of that. This book gives all the details about the impact what Chhatrapati Shivaji has created in south is being mentioned in that book. So Shivaji left Raigad in February 1677 for his saying Dakshin Digvijay or the southern expedition. His first halt was Golconda. Shivaji sent a message to his envoy in Golconda, Prahalad Nirji, please fix an appointment with Qutub Shah, who was the Sultanate of Golconda. Qutub Shah was nervous because it was the same Shivaji who had killed Afzal Khan a few years back and defied Aurangzeb with the own force. However, Qutub Shah was classified and told no untoward incident will take place, don't worry about that. And when Shivaji entered Golconda, my dear friends, he said to all his armed forces that they should not harass or they should not do anything to the inhabitants, civilians particularly. And as he entered the Golconda, the whole city was decorated with flags and flowers. Men, women and children thronged the streets of Bhagyanagar to have a glimpse of this great Maratha king Chhatrapati Shivaji. It is something like our modern day when our leader comes in an open jeep and waves his hands at his admirers. It is something like that. It was a very clear indication that Chhatrapati Shivaji had stolen the hearts of the people of Bhagyanagar. You know, my dear friends, the purpose why Shivaji came to Golconda was to strike a deal with Qutub Shah. He wanted 1 lakh tons, that is his currency, for the maintenance and expenses of his army to conquer Janji Fort. And in return, Shivaji told he will annex the part of the conquer what he has come for. The deal was struck. The deal was struck and Shivaji left Golconda. And before he left, he went to the top of Golconda hill and had a darshan of Ma Kali. And his next art, my dear friend, was Sri Sailam. And Sri Sailam, he took a dip in the holy Krishna river. It is always the habit of Chhatrapati Shivaji, whenever he goes on a big Vijay, if any historical place of interest comes, he will never miss to see them. If a temple comes, in a historical place, he will never miss to see them. Actually, when I was writing these slides, this project took me nearly almost 2 years. Not said 1.5 years, it almost took me 2 years. When I was writing this slide one day night, I was recollecting what happened to me about 30-40 years back. Actually, we were staying in Truplikam only. My mother used to take me to her uncle or aunt's house about 3 streets away in Truplikam. On the way, suppose if there is any temple, she would stand there, pray, and then proceed. A temple was not in her agenda at all. Going to an aunt's house was the agenda, but if any temple comes, she will never miss. Somehow I got imbibed by that habit. Later on, my dear friends, this habit took to a different level. Later on, when I was employed, I was actually a medical representative and my headquarters was Trichy. Many bosses used to come to work with me in Trichy. After the official work is over, the bosses will ask me, Sudhakar, can we go to Srirangam temple today? Can we go to Thiruvananthapuram? Can we go to Rockfort, Rockfort, like the direction. Then I remember that these all these good habits, we all have inherited them from Chhatrapati Shivaji. Like this, in Sri Sailam, Chhatrapati Shivaji worshipped Mallika Arjuna, and then he built a Dhyana Mandapam for the benefit of his pilgrims. This Dhyana Mandapam was in a very, very bad condition very recently, particularly after independence. It was in ruins, in a very dilapidated condition. It was the RSS who took the responsibility, and now they have made a massive building with excellent modern architecture. Next time when you go to Sri Sailam to worship Mallikarjuna, don't miss to visit the Dhyana Mandapam, which is a really marvel. So, my dear friends, in the book, I have mentioned a lot of emotional moments of Chhatrapati Shivaji at Sri Sailam. I am not going to tell all of this. I request you to kindly read that book because the title of that chapter itself is When Fate Almost Took the Tea. So you should read that. It's a very emotional part in that whole book, Shivaji's at Sri Sailam. From Sri Sailam, Shivaji had all his plans in place before executing in Janji Fort. He had excellent stalwarts and war strategists like Raghunath Pal, Bajirao Deshpande, Prataprao Gurjar, all these people. And Janji Fort, Shivaji considered it as one of the most invincible forts in India. He know that this is his entry point for Dakshin Digvijay. And with a single assault, Chhatrapati Shivaji crashed into Janji Fort. And, my dear friends, let me also tell you, it is not the intention of Chhatrapati Shivaji to plunder wealth. He always believed in the concept of Swarajya. And his purpose was to liberate the country from the hands of foreign rulers. That was his intention. That is why, after capturing Janji Fort, he appointed one of his trusted lieutenants, Shantaji, to take care of Janji Fort, where ramparts were built, bridges were constructed, roads were built, so many other things were there. So Janji Fort, my dear friends, even today, it is one of the few surviving forts in India. And I will tell you, it is a metaphor that how Shivaji is relevant even today. And another important point I want to tell is that Jinji Fort is recently been included in the World UNESCO Heritage List, along with all the pathways that Shivaji covered, right from Raigad to Vellore. All these are now in the prestigious UNESCO World Heritage List. Many things are ruled over Jinji Fort, no doubt of that. But the UNESCO World Heritage List has come to Jinji, it is because of Chhatrapati Shivaji, my dear friends. Another important thing what Shivaji did was that at that time, there was a slave trade was rampant in Kadalur, Pondicherry and Tiruvannamalai. Shivaji, the single ordinance banned this slave trade for which Tamil people should be greatly indebted to Chhatrapati Shivaji, where he had direct influence on these people. So after the Jinji Fort episode, Shivaji next went to the sacred hills of Tiruvannamalai. I request to pay attention to this. He went to the sacred hills of Tiruvannamalai. The serene beauty and the tranquilness filled Shivaji's heart with joy. And he told his commander-in-chief and his personal secretary, Hampi Rao, who was also his brother-in-law, Hampi, what an exquisite village this Tiruvannamalai. I like it so much. But Hampi Rao knows what has happened in Tiruvannamalai. He told Maharaja, yes, you are correct. You are correct. This is an excellent place. But now, earlier, this place was resonating with the chants of Rudram, Shamakam, and Shuktams from the temples of Shiva and Vishnu. But after the fall of Vijayanagara Empire, the Mughal rulers have raised these Hindu temples and they have constructed mosques. Another book I read, Ranjit Desai has written a book about the great Maratha king. Many people have written, but this book I liked it very much because this Ranjit Desai, he himself has become one of the characters in that book. He is so emotionally, the whole book is being presented like this. Something like our Tyagaraja Ramayana, our Tyagaraja pours all out his emotions on Rama, various songs. That way, this Ranjit Desai book is also there. What he has told, I tell you, as they crossed, as they came to the village, what happened is that they saw a broken Nandi. They had shattered Dinga. Shivaji was really, tears started coming from his eyes. And he said, they have not destructed just sand and mortar. It is an assault on our identity, faith, and legacy. Immediately, Shivaji took a decisive action of removing the mosques and he constructed the temples of Shiva and Vishnu there in a grand manner. 1 lakh cows were asked to enter into the temple premises. And the Kumbhabhishekam took place at the Tiruvannamalai. You are interested in knowing the importance, you are interested to know about the name of the temple and the references where you are taken, it is mentioned in the book, my dear friends. Kindly go through that. And like this, there are many details about in the book. And I also wanted to tell about this Kalikamba temple. Shivaji did visit. If you go to Kalikamba temple, there is a plaque mentioned there that Shivaji had visited this on October 3rd, 1677 and had a darshan at Kalikamba temple. It is also documented in another English reference that Shivaji had found. That reference is, the name of the book is Old Madras Days by J. Thomas Wheeler. In that book also it is being mentioned about that. So like this, my dear friends, these are the direct influence of Chhatrapati Shivaji in South. If you want to have indirect influences, it is Shivaji Maharaj's influence. During his time, my dear friends, Shivaji's rule for 108 years, and Tanjavur flourished and prospered like anything. Hinduism was at its top at that time. Sanskrit, Telugu, Marathi was told in all the schools. No two-language formula. All 3 languages were taught in their schools. So it was such a golden period, particularly in the separatist schools area. It was a golden period. If you know this Bharatanatyam, Tanjavur painting, Koikal Kudirai, Visual Polatam, all these things came during this Shivaji Maharaj's Raja Sappurti's period. So these all we are indebted, and we find that Shivaji Maharaj's influence is still alive and kicking. If you want to know how, at the entrance of Saraswati Mahal Library, there is a statue of Shivaji Maharaj freshly painted. This is again a metaphor that Shivaji is very much alive and kicking in all of us in the south of India. So, my dear friends, I request you all of you to buy the book and read it, and most importantly, tell it to our next generation about Chhatrapati Shivaji's achievement. They should know that such a warrior existed with such extraordinary qualities. That if India is planning to have Vikshit Bharat by 2047, the next generation should know about Chhatrapati Shivaji and his victories. Okay. So thank you for your patient listening, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for this book and sharing your experience with us. Your works about Shivaji, along with your own journey, have truly inspired everyone present here.